Oh, yeah. Hi,
Got
Paulette.
it.
Hiya.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. It's nice coming back from the Christmas break or the festive season into this lovely new year, 2024. We made it. We did it.
We made it.
So
Yes.
I am ecstatic. I'm great. Feeling good.
Wonderful. I'm really excited that you came and thank you for sparing the time because I know you are very busy. But I wanted to talk and learn more about women in tech and the disruption that you're causing and to talk more about your book as well. But before we go
Yeah.
down there, could you tell me a little bit about you and about where did you get this passion for technology from?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Paulette Watson. I'm a global tech disruptor, managing director for Academy Achievers UK and STEM Academy Achievers Ghana. And we work with children and young people aged between 5 to 25-year-old who are disaffected, disadvantaged, and come from marginalized communities. And we specialize in STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths, artificial intelligence, AI, Web3 related activities. And because we work with young people from the 5 to 25, like women and girls, we have different programs to accommodate the different age groups. So we do early years STEM music, we do our virtual STEAM camp holidays that we've been doing since COVID. Prior to that, we were doing robotic AI camps across London schools. We also run coding and programming sessions for children who are aged between 11 to 16-year-old, and they've been involved with First Lego League, where we've been the host and we've championed different missions where they've learned to program and build a robot and got involved with competitions. And the global program that I'm leading on is called the Be Me Digital Inclusion to raise 1 million Black women and girls aspiration in STEM, AI and Web3 related careers. And the Be Me Digital Inclusion basically stemmed from the fact that when we were doing our robotic camps, it was mainly white children and Asian children come in, and there was no Black girls or Black boys coming to our sessions. And the fact that I'm leading in it, I was thinking, I am a role model. Where are my girls? Where are my boys? And even when the boys did start to come, there still wasn't any girls. And having a background in computer science, being a teacher, working in international banking, I really wanted to bridge that gap. So my passion really stemmed really from my daughter and wanted to make sure that, yes, I was her role model, understanding the challenges, the systemic challenges within society when we look at housing, mental health, educational attainments gap, wealth gap, earning equal pay or pay gaps. I didn't want my daughter to experience that challenge. So making sure that I was able to bridge that gap to show up for her, I'm able to show up for the world. So that's why I
Wonderful.
got into it.
Yeah, well, being the leader in that way and looking for the future generations is absolutely amazing. What, why is that gap there, especially in technology? Because I do think that we are creative, a Black community, we're creative, we're problem solvers, we can make do with small amounts. Why was there that massive big gap in technology? I think we like gadgets.
Yeah, we do. I think the main reason for the gaps really is lack of representation, lack of role models. I mean, they're trying to say that, there's an issue around imposter syndrome. So they talk about feeling a bit of a fraud. With Black women, as you said, I have to disagree with you. I don't think that we are creative. We are creative. We are so passionate. We do that 100. We go that extra mile every single time. Give us something and we're able to create and be innovative and make things happen. We're problem solvers. Yeah, that's why they need us. Well, if you was to read the McKinsey's report on every diversity matters, it talks about having a diverse leaders on their board members, having it on their leadership team, and they're saying that it will have an economical value,
Yes.
yeah, globally. So they need Black women to be in these spaces. Now, we don't want just like to say, okay, we're just going to have anybody in these teams. We do need them to have the right skills. But what that means is give them access, give them access to the correct training. So a lot of Black women are coming to me and saying, Paula, I've just done my master's in social science, or I'm a social worker. I've just done my degree in nursing. How do I get into tech? So it's about giving Black women access to networking opportunities, going to meetups that talk about the different opportunities in tech. So, for example, you've got issues around the tools in terms of artificial intelligence. You've got Web3. You could get into blockchain. You can get into the Internet of Things.
Yes.
Big data. You could be a computer scientist. You could be a web developer. You could be a creative. There's so much you can do. Come into what is it? You can be a chemical engineer, literally go into construction. You can go into space UK, and there's so much that we can do using the skills. So our skills can be transferable. Yeah, we can use those skills in any industry, because right about now they are disrupting those places. So, for example, yesterday we were mainly doing a lot of was human, but now they're using robots, but they're using them interchangeably, both woman and robot, or both man and robot. Yeah, because there's only so much the robots can do. They still need a human's touch. They still need us. Yeah. I don't know I do know what the future holds, but at the moment, they still need us. Okay. They still need us, and we need to make sure that we're part of the design, part of the architect, so that they don't create these algorithms and exclude us. Yeah, that's why we have to be at the cutting edge of these developments.
So definitely about getting information, knowing what resources are out there, getting those network, and networking is always important in any kind of area. So definitely we need to push ourselves to find out those information, and so it's not the old time network that's going on. So I definitely hear that. You spoke about AI, and that's something that really intrigues me, because we weren't there when they were doing a lot of that technology. That it seems like a lot of the algorithms aren't based on us, aren't based on Black people, and so we can see there's a lot of faults there with recognition, and a lot of apps. A lot of people use different apps, and Black women think that Black women are men, for example, because they just haven't been tested on there. Could you talk a bit more about how we can make changes about that, and some of the faults with the AI?
Absolutely. So firstly, my book. I'm the recent author for She Disrupt. It's a Black woman's journey in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and AI industries. And in that book, I tell you about those disruptions in health, in education, in agriculture, and I talk about it, and I talk about it from looking through the lens of intersectionality. For example, our disability, our sexuality, our race, yeah, and the fact that how do we get involved? So when we for my book, it really explains from my personal lived experience. So what I like about my book is the fact that when I go and talk about being a Black woman, I don't, even if there's like my audience are white, I'm a Black woman, I can't change that. So I could talk about my experiences. And I believe that my book will resonate with Black women, because you'd be like, yeah, you know what? I felt those microaggressions at work. Yeah, I felt the fact that in terms of my hair, I was, discriminated or victimized or passed up from a job, or I didn't get that leadership promotion. And with the AI, if we're not the ones designing the algorithm, we're not at the beginning stage, what's going to happen? Like you just said, they will create these apps, yeah, these products, and it's going to exclude us. But if we're part of the design process, yeah, remember, we will always include people. We're fair, yeah? We'll be able to look at a problem because we are at the grass stage, at the grassroots level. So we understand the challenges, and there wouldn't be a disconnect with our community or our children. So when we're designing these programs or these apps, we will be able to do it in a way where everybody is fair, it's equitable, people get access to it equally. So when we talk about, in my book, I talk about health inequalities and how the AI or the technology, if we're not, like I said, at that place or creating it, how it can exclude us, but how we can also use AI for good, how we can use AI for good in climate change, how we can use AI for good in education, in retail, in the metaverse. There's so many ways having a voice. Recently, you just heard about, is it Taj P? who was, probably not saying her name properly, but the lady was doing the color purple.
All right, yes,
And she talked about, and she talked about pay, not
yes.
getting the same
Not
pay as
getting the
a
same
white
level of pay.
counterpart.
Mm.
Right. So that's in my book as well. So we talk about the pay gap. I talk about the wealth gap. Talking about if we are consistently, for the last 30 years, we haven't been paid correctly, how are we going to buy our homes? And again, even with our buying our homes, we are discriminated against. And that's what, and they also use them the tool. And how they're using the tool is that what they're doing, they have information about you already. Okay. So as soon as you, before you even come into the bank, that information is collated and you're already rejected. Simple.
There's a bias. There's a bias inside the
Biases.
system, isn't it? And I suppose
Yeah.
there's a black tax in essence. Do you know what I mean? Where we get penalised just for our blackness, with our location, our jobs,
Yes, absolutely. And
there's
it's unconscious
additional.
as well.
For
Yeah,
some
it's
people,
unconscious
maybe
biases.
maybe sometimes
Well,
for some people.
I think they have to be, I was advised in the UN, and I was the UN Pulse, and I had the opportunity to advise them on the ethical framework for Ghana. And I said to them that, it's all well and good that you're designing all these amazing, tools, but if you don't speak to those people who are at the grassroots level, why are you going to create something that's going to, and it's not going to benefit them? How are they going to use your system? They won't be able to, because you totally ignore them. So when I talk about the unconscious biases, what I really mean is the fact that because they're so used to it being their way,
Yes, they've been
they're
defense
not
that.
willing.
Yes.
They're not willing to even consider what we're feeling. Okay.
Mm.
It doesn't come because it's always been a particular way. And that's why we have to disrupt the status quo.
Yes, so we have to highlight the other points of views, and what you're saying is that they may not acknowledge it because they're thinking of making a service for themselves. So they're going to be testing things on, for example, white skin for the medical field. They're going to be testing it on white skin. They're not going to be thinking that other people might use it with different hues of complexion and it might have a different factor. They're just trying to get this equipment to work, and they're using the subjects which are familiar to them, that they resonate with, and unfortunately it doesn't resonate with us. So what you're saying is that we need to be in those places where we can say, have you considered? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and what you've got to remember, what you've just said has been happening for the last 20 years. It's not new.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not new. And this is why the problem is, if we don't act now, it's going to be replicated in the tools.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why you've experienced some discrimination in health, in education, when you look at the attainment levels in terms of GCSEs, because it's always been that way. What the tool, what will AI do is just replicate. Yeah, you spit out what it's been trained on. Yeah, when you look at machine learning, when you look at natural language processing, all it will do is just regurgitate, and spit out the same biases. So I want us to be very, very clear. Even though it may seem that it's new, it's really not. Remember, you've got to go back 1956. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. Yeah, it's just, they've just let it out in the open. They've gone even beyond AI. We're looking at quantum computing now. That's a whole new different topic that we're talking about. So remember, when I talk about new, and I don't just talk about AI, I talk about new and emerging technologies. And when I started to get into tech, it was in 2001 or 2002, 2000. And when I did my master's, and then I did my MBA, we were looking into the future, 20 years. So everything that's happening now, we wrote about this. Did you see what I mean? So it's really interesting. And that's why my book is nearly 2 years old now, because I started to write, because I started to get really upset with the fact that we were getting displaced as Black women. We were getting left behind, simply because I know for a fact there's 7% of Black women, in tech. I know that for a fact. I've written the book. I know the data. Okay. I also run the Be Me program across the UK. And I know for a fact that when we go and do our mentoring, with the young girls, the take-up is low. Our communities are not talking about STEM. They're not talking about the different jobs. But right back now, the government is pushing, because we are going to have there's a digital skills gap, not just within the Black community. It's a global problem. Yeah. So even though we're talking about AI, we got to really, really understand and really wake up, because it's the problem is so big. Yeah. There are problems, like I said, wealth gap, earning gaps. health gap. Look at the issues. Yeah, I'm talking about the historical issues and the disadvantage that we've experienced not getting those jobs. Yeah, look where we are predominantly based in the health sector. Yeah, we're normally with the care, but there are amazing jobs out there that we can leverage, that can help. If our children were to get those jobs within Space UK, within the construction industry, engineering, within Web3, learn how to use blockchains, Ethereum, smart contract, Internet of Things, big data analysis, AI conversationalists, if they were to get jobs, money starts from, the wage starts from at least 100K. Can you imagine if at least five of people within a household were earning 500K a year? What would that do within the Black community? So let's not get too hooked up on, oh, AI. Yes, it's they've let it out, but it's been around. They've tested it for a very, very long time. So now they need to populate it with the information from us. Yeah. Get my book. My book is will be an opportunity for you to really understand what's happening, have all the latest documentation, read it. I speak internationally on the impact of AI and on STEM, new and emerging STEM, and why we need to show up and why it is that no Black woman should be left behind. It's really important. It's a very crucial time right now. We're going through the fourth digital revolution, and it's that we have to show up. Even if you don't know the training, you need to learn HTML. If you want to do HTML, CSS, Java, Python, there's so much opportunities understanding the fundamentals of Web3, understanding Solana, blockchains. I mean, I'm repeating myself. NFT, these are the things that are the buzzwords. Yes. Disruption is but they are buzzwords. And just go online and just start to type. They are doing a lot of training.
Research can start just basically online. Now, you mentioned your books. Where can we find your book? Where is it available on Amazon or Waterstones? Where? Yes. How do we do?
Okay. So at the moment, it will be available on Amazon in the next week or so. I did self-publishing. The reason why I did self-publishing because the reason why I did self-publishing is simply because I wanted to go on the journey to see the challenges, because a lot of people want to do writing. I've got a large following on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You get real updates on what I'm doing with the tech. But my website, if you go to www.paulettewatson.com, all traffic leads to my website, and that's where you can get my book. My book is staring you in the face.
And the best way to get hold of you as well is via your website.
Paulette Watson, via my website.
On your website, you talk about the different courses that you're doing. If people want to access those courses, all that information is there as well on your website.
So once you get to me on my website, then if you want to do the courses, academyachievers.ao. So that's the business Academy Achievers. So I'm the managing director for Academy Achievers. If you go to www.academyachievers.io, you will be able to access the courses and get all the updated information. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. This is a vast amount of information, and I like the idea that you were saying just start going online first and just maybe find out what some of those words mean. We need a glossary, because I caught some of them, blockchain and AI. I clocked some of them, but not all of them. And I would have thought that I was quite tech savvy. So really, we all have a learning curve. And I think we should really explore, start there. And the fact that you've got these courses going, this is an opportunity, and your book is an opportunity just to think outside the box, really, and to realise that we need to be part of it. Otherwise, as you said, we'd be left behind, and that could be detrimental not only to us individually, but to us as a community. So there's definitely something that we need to think about. So
also, you're absolutely welcome, but also just even whetting your appetite, taking your time with the book, right? It would really set you up, to do really, really well, because it will give you like some key pointers of where to go to find the information, what does it look like, and how to validate that, and what questions to ask as well. Because sometimes people, especially us women, we take up these positions and a lot of them come back, we don't know how to answer these questions. We don't know how to maneuver in these workplace environments, and that is a problem as well. And being able to just speak out. When I have conversations with my my white counterparts, I'm able to just have difficult conversations, because I am a black woman and these are my challenges, and not feeling that, oh my gosh, because I've got locks, I can't show up and talk to a crowd or people who are expert in it. No, this is who I am. And I want us to be able to embrace that moving forward. And even if your question is wrong,
Yes.
so what? Still go out there and ask the question, because if you don't ask, you would never know. And that's how I started. I started out, well, I just ask questions. People say I was nosy, but I changed it. I was inquisitive. And that's what we need to be, inquisitive, and just move forward with that.
I feel like what you're saying is normalizing the Black presence, really. That's what we need to do,
Absolutely.
normalize the Black presence on all levels. So it's not unusual. You don't have to put your white mask on in order to function. Just you can be yourself. And I think that the more that we're in those spaces, those other spaces, then we can. It's not scary for other people. Then, do you know what I mean? Because always people tend to be intimidated by us, but it's about, because sometimes people are intimidated by what they don't know because we're not in those spaces. Do you know what I mean? So we need to get into those spaces so we can realize, hang on a second, this humanity here, we have got something to offer, we've got something to share. So I definitely agree with that. I definitely do.
Absolutely. I want to promote that I'm one of the judge for women in electronics. And again, there is not the take-up of women in electronics is shocking for women as a whole.
Yes.
For Black women, it's just literally non-existent. And we need parents to talk to their young children, the young people. So even though I'm championing women and girls, but this is an issue, a societal issue. We need our young children to get into electronics.
So we've seen it as a boys thing, we've seen it as a man thing. We're not, what's going on?
And that's it. And this is it. And I love the fact that you just said, what is it? Do we see it as a man thing? Well, this is it. So we've got to deal with those deep-rooted perceptions. And so why is it a man? Who said it's a man thing? Why can't our daughters do it? Why not? Why can't our daughters go out there and, they're not even doing, before, back in the days when my dad, he was an engineer. So he used to work on cars, but also he had to learn it from a computer perspective. He was very good at maths. But I remember him being in his overall. So I was thinking, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get dirty. But I remember reading his books. So I understand the makeup of a car. I understand. So I'm into autonomous vehicles because of do you see what I mean? I understand about the carburetor, I understand about the engine, how it all works. Because that was all stimulated from a child. So why? I just didn't like getting dirty, that's all. I was just a bit bougie. I just didn't like it. But I can still work on cars in my home remotely. Do you see what I mean? So we have to have these conversations at the dinner table with our children. And that's what the Be Me Digital Inclusion Program entails. We offer mentoring. We talk about the different industries at the dinner table. And to educate parents as well. Because some parents some of them thinking, but we just don't know. We didn't know that we can go into those jobs. And now parents have said to me, actually, what you're doing for my daughters, do it for me. So that's why we've got our She Disrupt Book Club. And what that does, it will be talking about the book and explaining how to get into tech, going back into your career. Do you see what I mean? Returning back into your career, but with a different route. So that's what we're developing now. And these women, they have some real good qualifications and they've got experience and they can add value to the tech industry. Definitely. I'm excited.
It does. It feels like what you're doing is you're creating those opportunities for people to access. Do you know what I mean? For all ranges, and also for your children to access, and also for you to access. That's the key there, really, isn't it? And I was just trying to think, just in my lifestyle, and I was just trying to remember this. I used to, when I was very young, I used to work in a light store. So I used to do a lot of electric stuff because I used to work in a light store when I was at college. And then I remember being around men who are electricians, and you go to do something and they're like, want to take over. And I'm thinking, no, okay, I can do a light switch because I've been doing it for years. I was doing it when I was 16. I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? But then they kind of, well, that's a man's job. Do you know what I mean? So I can feel that. I also dated a mechanic when I was very young as well. And he was quite hands-on. And so I was quite hands-on. And if you've ever dated a mechanic, you know that the cars that you drive are a bit rough. Everybody's car is rough, but you need to learn how to repair stuff. And so I learned quite a few skills because we were fixing cars all the time and we were hands-on. And then I remember when I went to buy one of my cars, I wanted a Vectra at the time. I don't think they do them anymore, but I wanted a Vectra, and the person was just like, "Oh no, this is too big a car for you." And I'm thinking, do you know me? How do you make that assumption?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they're thinking, no, that's not a girl's car. A girl's car? What? Do you know what I mean? How do we get that kind of thing? So I can understand that in our lifetime, we're exposed to these negative biases all the time. And it is about stopping and thinking, hang on a second, what that person's done, that's wrong. It doesn't have to be that way. We can be different, and it's okay to be different. I'm a tomboy in heart, do you know what I mean? So maybe I saw some of those things, but I think that we are creative enough and we're educational enough that we can be flexible in all ranges as women. We don't have to be limited.
Well, can I challenge you? You mentioned that we are tomboys. I mean, because I thought I was a tomboy growing up. I don't think we're tomboys. I think we were not, because our parents came from, well, hypothetically, say from the Caribbean, right? Our parents came from the Caribbean, and remember, a lot of them had access. They saw positive role models. That's what they were used to. When they came to the UK, they were probably oblivious to the challenges, and that we were just grown up, just being free, and we could do what we want, and we were able to read at a very young age. And the reason why I said that we were able to be free, that we could dress up as a boy, we could go out and ramp, we could just be free. It wasn't until when we probably got into our teenage, we started to realize that, oh my gosh, maybe we shouldn't behave like that, because we're in these different environments that didn't allow that, and then they excluded us even further. So I just think that we were just free. We were just able to be free, and then they tried to put us in this box. And even when I'm listening to you, and even with you doing this whole amazing podcast, YouTube thing, that's a skill, and that is a job that you've been able to do. And that's where we want to try and encourage even our young women to say, well, you can have a voice just by interviewing other people, and because it will go to the world. And this is what I'm trying to tell women, because a lot of women are shy, but they have so much to share and so much to say, which the technology enables that. But it's about understanding how to do it. And you mentioned that you're a problem solver, because you like to fix things. That's who we are. We can't help it. Nothing's gonna get the better of us, because that's who we are. And that's what I love about being a Black woman and being around Black women. And to be honest with you, I don't want to do this alone. I'm not doing this. The ladder is there for each and every one of you to come up. There's no need. It's boring. I used to live in Switzerland, and it was boring just not seeing anyone that looks like me. And I left. Now I'm in Ghana. I'm seeing a lot of people who looks like me. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So come on up. The ladder is there. Access is there for you. Get what's yours. Take your seat and speak up.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's been very informative and inspiring. And you are inspiring. So I really, really do appreciate that. And I know your time's tight, so I can see we're running out of time. But thank you so much for sharing. And I'll tag on the details for your book as well, so that other people can find where to find you, to find that. And I'm just amazed by what you're doing. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing with me.
And thank you for having me. Really, really an honor, an absolute honor to get to know you. You are phenomenal, a phenomenal Black woman, and I love you.
Oh, thank you very much for saying that. Thank you. I'm here admiring you. You're admiring me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Blessings to you. You take care.
I believe one day, I believe in the future. I believe in the past. I believe what you truly desire, you can bring to pass. All you need is a focus and a story to hold, and the faith that you can achieve what's inside your soul. Someday we'll make it on by.